coming up. I've spoke about the areas that I struggle because, as we know, it's a massive spectrum, autism and ADHD.
You would then have to spend probably the majority of first date explaining Crohn's, which isn't nice. You'd probably want to go out and have a nice time and take your mind off that as well. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I say to my friends, like, if they wanted to, they would. Like, but you've made me see a different perspective on it. I'm Sophie Gravia.
And I'm Christine McGuinness, and we are here to listen, to care and to overshare. Sophie, you've had some big life changes since last series.
I have finally stopped working for the NHS. So I've obviously been a nurse for 10 years, and I kept juggling basically and hanging on with a thread for probably the last 5 years since obviously the books came out. Do you know what it is? My mum and dad are both nurses, and I always felt like I'm a nurse, I have to keep doing this. And you see how obviously how busy it is and how short everyone is in the wards, and you kind of feel like this obligation. But I do love nursing as well, but my life is too busy, and I felt like I cannot ask anyone else anymore for swaps on shifts, because I was constantly getting off duty and being like, shit, I'm in London, shit, I'm there, like, how can I swap this around? Yeah, it's so exciting. Like, I was skipping out that door, I'm not going to lie. I was like, bye guys.
Oh, it is so exciting, it really is, but it's a big change, a whole new chapter for
yes,
you.
Literally.
Anyway, we're here. It's quite personal, today's episode. It's personal for me because we're talking about autism in situationships, in relationships, in dating and how it is. And I'm going to try and be as open as possible, although I'm not an expert, I'm only speaking from experience. I hope that anyone listening might learn something or take some good advice, or maybe feel a little bit more comfortable within themselves. So
I think it will really help, because obviously autism and ADHD are just so much better diagnosed at the minute, but it will also help the partners hopefully on how to deal with that. So if you're dating an autistic person, things that not to take maybe too personally, and how to sort of work that out.
For me, I'm still learning along the way as well. One of the biggest things that I've realised that's massively important to me is to talk about it before I start dating.
Plan it out.
Yeah, let them know. I think it's worked better when I've said it and I've spoke about the areas that I struggle, because, as we know, it's a massive spectrum, autism and ADHD, and although we have the same diagnosis, it can be completely different for different people. It's very unique and individual. So what works for me might not work for somebody else. So straight away, communication. You've got to communicate. If you do know that you're dating somebody who's autistic, then you need to ask the questions and figure out what they do and don't like. If they are oversensitive when it comes to noise or smells or textures, I'm very, very particular with all of those things. So I remember planning one date in particular with a woman. She planned the day, so I'd already told her all of the things that I didn't like. So in a restaurant, I like to go to places that I already know, so I know that I'm going to like the food. I don't like to say if I don't like the food, so that's part of the problem, that I'm either going to sit there really awkward shoveling the food around the plate and not want to say anything to the waiter. Noise can be a problem. I'm absolutely fine with music noise. I'm fine in concerts. I'm fine in busy concerts, but kind of like just a busy restaurant where, like, you can just hear the people and the knife and fork on the plate that screech and things like that. I don't do very well with. Really, really not good with particular textures. So it wouldn't be ideal for me to go to maybe like a Spanish restaurant or an Indian restaurant, somewhere where it's not going to be flavours and textures that I'm used to. So, like, don't surprise me with a date night somewhere that I haven't been thinking it's exciting. I probably won't like it. But just being able to say all of those things can help you plan the perfect date. And I think as the relationship develops, for me personally, I did become more comfortable and would start trying new places because I knew that I could say if I didn't like it, whereas I wouldn't want to say that on the first date.
Yeah, because it just looks like you're being a diva or something like that.
Exactly, and that's how I used to feel before my diagnosis. So I think getting the diagnosis just for that, just for me to understand myself, was massively important.
Yep.
And I think the misunderstanding for autistics a lot of the time is very frustrating for us because we may not always explain ourselves properly, or we'll over explain sometimes, and then it almost looks like you're lying, or you go into a big rabbit hole and suddenly you forgot what you were even explaining. Anyway, I think that's something I've really struggled with, and it takes a lot of patience. I think you need a lot of patience if you're with somebody who's autistic.
So what, like, if you were dating someone with autism, what would be the correct terminology, like, to refer, like, if you were referring to autism? So
it's, again, different and unique for every person, whatever they're comfortable with. But the majority would prefer to call ourselves autistics, rather than say somebody with autism, like, oh, I'm Christine and I'm not with autism. I am autistic. I'm an autistic woman. Or neurodiverse, I usually say quite a lot because I'm ADHD as well. But yeah, it's because it's not something that we have, like,
it's something.
It's us. It's just us. It's just how we are. We are like, some people are left-handed. You don't have left-handed. I think another thing that I read about a lot for autistic, usually autistic women in particular, the sort of they feel that they come across as being cold, or like they're not empathetic, like they don't have those kind of deep feelings. And we as autistic women, the women that I know and I talk to who have had that said to them before, we all agree on the same. It's actually the opposite. It's that we think deeply, very, very deeply. We feel very, very deeply. And rather than us show that vulnerability or say anything, we kind of just will hold back and can come across as quite cold, and you say nothing rather than pour your whole heart out.
So how would you want your partner to help you then for like that? Because that must be, like, you must feel as if you can't express yourself very well. Do you know what I mean? Or
it
really,
takes
really
time. It does take time, and I think when you know it yourself, when you understand yourself, then you can explain. But I think for a partner or somebody who's dating someone who's autistic and they're feeling any kind of distance or wondering why they haven't acknowledged something that was important to them or whatever, we are known to be very, very forgetful. We usually remember loads of facts that we don't need to know. Parts of our memory's amazing, but then there'll be things that we won't remember at all. We're not being rude. It's not that we don't care. It's not that we're not empathetic. It can be that we care so much, we don't want to do something half-hearted, and then just like sort of turn up with something little. I would research what somebody likes and try and get the most perfect, amazing gift or something, for example, rather than just give nothing. But then if I haven't got round to doing it, then I'll just not acknowledge the occasion at all.
So someone I know was dating a guy who had autism, and she really, really liked him. He liked her as well, you could tell. And she was like, fancy a midweek walk, like kind of just saying it like, I'm free for the next couple hours, do you fancy a midweek walk? And he would just text back, nope, don't do midweek walks. And then she was like, what the fuck? Like, how have I? And I was like, but maybe that's not part of his schedule. Like, he's like worked this out. But at the same time, I would get so frustrated at that, because you feel like there's like, it was quite the lack of empathy. But then he would say, but I'm seeing you on Saturday. As if, do you know what I mean? So there was none of that sort of.
He's got his routine that he likes to stick to, and for him that must be important, totally, and it could throw off his whole week if he did go out for that walk and not do what was in his schedule plan. So I think with things like that, obviously that's where you need someone who's just kind of like understanding
Okay.
and gets it and goes, okay.
It
And
must be hard though to take it then to the next level, like especially if you've just started dating someone. Do you know what I mean?
I'm a lot more easygoing than what I am like at the very beginning, because you get more comfortable with the person. So, you know, they'll be, you know, introducing you to new places and doing new things, and your routine's going to change, and you get a little bit more relaxed about being okay with that. I think at first you can just be very, very uptight. But yeah, I get it. I feel it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go for a midweek walk.
Okay, now our Hot Mess Hotline. We have got a 23-year-old guy who is asked to remain anonymous.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm looking for some advice about reaching out in the dating sphere. With my autism, I not only struggle to read signs or get involved in flirting, but one of my biggest barriers is a fear that I'm almost too much for any of it to be worth it. I'm very particular about how I live in my home. I have my routine, I have my social quirks, and I get burnout. And I found that guys often like the offbeat humor and the quirky vibes I get from autism, but as soon as I start showing the more difficult or disabling aspects, I'm almost not worth the trouble anymore. Am I alone in this? Have you got any advice on being able to get past it?
Oh, that is the saddest thing I've...
See, it's actually heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It worries me so much for my children, thinking about that they're going to have to go through it. Bless them. It's really really hard, and I think patience again. It's somebody who's patient who will get you to a place where you're comfortable to be a little bit more flexible with your routine, or to just accept you as you are and understand that that's really important to you, and you are worth it. You're absolutely worth it.
100% worth it. And I think, do you not just think people like quirky people like that, and you've obviously are just so much more interesting to be around?
I think so, and I find that at first, most are, like, not just in my experience, but others that I know, autistics who are dating, they always say, like, at first, you know, there usually is some good interest where it's like, oh, this is new, this is different, and what do you like to do? And I think some people like the challenge. I dated a woman who loved the challenge of trying to get me in a taxi. Loved it. Like, it was a long
If you get a
journey
taxi
in
thing?
a taxi. Well, it's a bit of car sickness, not being in control of the car.
Oh, I get terrible car sickness. If I'm in the back,
yeah, it wasn't mine, and like all of that, and then it was, okay, now we need to get you out of Europe, and now we're going to eat in a different restaurant, and it was like the challenge of, and in many ways I loved it, and it was really, really helpful, and it made me step out of my comfort zone, and now I will use taxis and go to that restaurant still, just not there.
Yeah.
And I will go out of Europe.
Yeah.
So I'm living a great life. But it's hard, and I didn't enjoy the pressure, but she absolutely loved the challenge. And I think at first it's a bit like that, and then it gets to the point where it's like, right, okay, this is just too much.
It's hard
now.
work.
Yeah, this is too much. I'm having to like.
But I think they will find someone. Do you know what I mean? I feel like there is someone out there for everyone.
Of course there is. I think there's more than one person out there for everyone, not at the same time.
And I think there must be so many people in the same situation.
Yeah. Well, there is a lot of, there's dating sites, there's forums, there's a lot of places that you can go to for support.
Yeah, I think it's really making sure that he's comfortable to be himself and to sort of open up. And then I think basically what you're saying is once you start trusting someone and getting used to them, and like...
For autistics as well, I don't know if you've heard of rejection sensitivity disorder. It's very, very common for autistics. And that can feel like, it's not like just being rejected, like you've been let down on a date or you didn't get a job you've gone for. It could be the tiniest little thing that will feel like it's physically hurting you.
Yeah.
And you can't breathe and it's taking over your body, and that's what it can feel like.
Yeah.
And if that's happened before, like he said, he's had it where the interest is there for a bit and then he gets too much off. So that for him now, you can hear in his voice and the words that he's using that's stuck with him.
Yeah,
it's really stays with him, and I think he needs to remember, and his friends and family need to remind him that he's not too much, and you're always going to be either too much for someone or not enough for somebody else until you find the right person.
Okay, we've got our next Hot Mess Hotline. So this is voiced up because the girl wants to remain anonymous. She's 21.
Hi, Sophie and Christine. I've recently been diagnosed with Crohn's, which means I've got a restricted diet and certain foods cause it to flare up. I've also started messaging a guy and he's suggested going for a curry, but that is a nightmare for me. I've said I'd rather not do that, but the tone of his messages has kind of started to change and I'm worried that he thinks I'm a bit of a princess or that I'm being difficult. The other thing is I don't drink because of my Crohn's, so that's another thing I need to explain to him. My mum says I shouldn't tell him at all, but I really don't know.
Oh, that's such a shame.
I know.
But absolutely do not eat a curry if you've got Crohn's because you're going to make yourself ill. You've no idea the pain and stuff that people that have got Crohn's and stuff like that, the absolute pain and discomfort it gives you, especially if you do not stick to your diet.
I think it's best to say from the get-go.
100%.
Because, like she's just said, he's already feeling like she's going distant because she hasn't said yes
like a
to
princess.
going. Yeah, when it's not that. It's because of her condition.
Yeah.
So
I don't even think you would have to say I've got Crohn's or just say I can't eat curry because it upsets my stomach.
Yeah, I can't tolerate that food.
Yeah.
But why do you think she'd be better off saying that rather than just saying...
If she doesn't want to be upfront, maybe she's not ready to talk about her diagnosis and stuff. It's such a big diagnosis to have at 21. Yeah.
At 21.
21.
Yeah.
So if she's not ready, then absolutely, you don't have to say, but I would mention that you can't eat curry or drink alcohol.
Yeah.
And so many people don't drink alcohol nowadays. We don't.
Yeah, but like you've just said, she's 21.
Yeah.
And she was excited about dating this fella. But I think obviously at some point she's going to have to say, but
yeah,
I
if
agree,
it progressed and
wait
stuff like
until she's
that.
ready.
Yeah, if it progressed and things like that, you'd say, I have actually got a diagnosis. I'm not being a princess, but this is my diagnosis. Because I think a lot of people, obviously I was a nurse. I am a nurse. Oh, I don't know what I am. But so I know about Crohn's, but a lot of people probably don't know about Crohn's. You would then have to spend probably the majority of first day explaining Crohn's, which isn't nice. You'd probably want to go out and have a nice time and take your mind off that as well. Do you know what I mean?
And it is something to be like taken quite seriously, I think. It's something that you should be like sympathetic towards.
Yep.
But obviously this girl doesn't know this fella properly yet, and he might be like that further down the line. But for a first date, I get it if she doesn't want to go into detail.
I don't think if I was 21 and I had Crohn's and it was a first date, I wouldn't want to tell them. God, I struggled if I was dating to tell anyone I had kids. Never mind, like something like that. Yeah, because I would just think it's none of your business.
And then if the date goes well and you have another date and another date, then you can get a bit deeper and more personal
100%.
because intimacy is going to get involved at some point.
Yep.
But for now, I suppose she can just figure out if she even actually likes them. But just go for your safe food.
Yeah, avoid the curry. Yeah, so obviously when I worked in the wards, there was so many people that had life-changing surgeries. So, for instance, if they had Crohn's and stuff like that, they maybe needed a stoma bag, or even they had issues with a bladder, needed a catheter. When you were actually looking after these people, and I don't know why, but especially when they're young, and you just feel like you can see how much it's actually hurting them. When you were looking after people that had that, it was just, there was different ways that you could go about it. Well, mostly when someone has like Crohn's or has something like that, when they actually get the operation and they get a stoma bag, it is so much relief because a lot of that pain stopped. So there was so many people that were actually buzzing to get the bag and were waiting in preparation. But then obviously the reverse side of that is, wait, then I have to live with this.
Yeah.
And it was quite difficult, especially for young people, and especially for people that were kind of like, well, what do I do to have sex, or what do I do when I want to go to the beach? And there was the stoma nurses that you get assigned to a stoma nurse, and they are absolutely amazing. So I remember going in and the stoma nurse was coming down, we were all sitting picking like bikinis and stuff from a magazine, and we're like, oh, it just fits in nicely, you would never know, for someone that was going to get married, and she was just really worried about stuff like that.
And there's more people in the public eye now. I think Adele Roberts is one who quite proudly shows hers off and talks about it and in a positive way of how much it's changed her life. And I think
There was
as you mature,
a supermodel that done a catwalk recently, and she had her stoma back as well.
we're seeing it more just on billboards, on adverts. Just, you know, when you're seeing it more and more and people talking about it, I think you can get more comfortable and learn to just live with it happily. I think maturity's got a lot to do with it as well. I remember being conscious over my C-section scar, which even now saying it out loud, it sounds and feels ridiculous because it got all my children here safely. It's really not that bad, and it's just a scar. But I remember at the time I think I was 24, 25 when I had the twins. And I'm modelling quite a lot of the time in swimwear, so I was conscious of it. Whereas now I don't care. I really don't care as long as I'm healthy. And it is hard. I think whatever is happening with changes with your body, it's personal, and you're gonna adjust in your own time. But yeah, ultimately I think if it's helped your health, that's going to bring your happiness in a different way.
Especially if you were single and, for instance, you had a stoma, it's like, when do you introduce that to a partner? It must be quite difficult do you be upfront and say, by the way, I've got this colostomy bag, and do you know what I mean? It
depends. Well, if it's a new situationship, then like our Hot Mess Hotline earlier, then you just, I think, wait until you're ready. Because you're not planning on taking your clothes off straight away anyway, or you might be, who knows, but it's whatever you're comfortable with. But, and
there are straps and stuff like that you can get for instance, for people with stomas that keep it nice and tight against the skin, so it's not like touching anyone, or you're not getting freaked out about things like that. So there is loads of stuff available to help people, obviously, in intimate moments. Okay, we're going to play a wee game of follow or unfollow, and this is social media dating advice. Okay. So it's all quotes. So date someone for who they are, not for their potential. They won't change.
This is my biggest downfall, honestly. I see everyone's potential. I believe in everyone. I like to make them believe in themselves. And tell them that change your life. Be amazing and all of this. And it frustrates me when they don't do it. And I'm like, I want to bang your head against the wall. Like, you could do so much more. But for whatever reason, if it's their own self-doubt and they just don't quite reach their potential that I can see very clearly, then I just end up quite frustrated. So I've learnt the hard way that you've got to like the person for who they are right now. If they reach the potential that I can see, great. But you've got to actually like them as they are now.
Who they are.
Because if they don't ever become what dream and fantasy I can see in my head, then I'm going to be disappointed.
So we follow that. So date someone for who they are.
For who they are,
not their potential. Okay. Don't chase, attract. Follow. I would not reach out. We're probably different in this way. I would never reach out to someone first, but I would attract it because I'd be like posting banging selfies.
So I think it's actually similar. I think I would sort of let them know that I'm going to make sure that you see me.
I'll
and
like,
you know I'm there.
And I'll maybe like your story. You've been at the gym. I'll like that story. But I'll never slip into your DMs, but you're welcome in mine.
But you kind of, exactly.
100%. If they wanted to, they would. We've spoke about this recently.
Honestly, that sentence, it lives rent free in my head.
See, I would always say that was true, and I sometimes say to my friends, like, if they wanted to, they would, like. But you've made me see a different perspective on it.
I had that said to me 1,000 times in a previous situationship, and it really, really massively upset me. It upset me and it frustrated me, and I felt massively misunderstood. And I found myself just explaining over and over that in very, very unique circumstances, sometimes the person can't do anything about whatever it is you're asking for. So like with mine, I live with my ex-husband. It's not necessarily by choice. It works. It doesn't mean I'm choosing that option and I'm not choosing something else. It's right now, that's for now, that's how it works. So, if you wanted to move out, you would, kind of thing. It doesn't really wash with me because I've been there where there's nothing.
And plus you've got kids, it's different, isn't it? And that's always going to be your priority to make sure.
But even though, you've got time to go to that event or wherever, but you can't come out with me. But that's work also. So, and then it's kind of, well, if you wanted to, you would. But no, because I've only got 24 hours a day and 7 days in a week and I can't squeeze it all in. And it really, really frustrated me. But in some ways, I have seen it where in other people's relationships where you sit back and you go, no, really, if they wanted to put more effort in, they would.
Yeah. And the last one, don't ask, what are we? I would have to know. Here we go, Christine.
Oh,
the situationship, the longest situationship. No, I need to know, and I need to know exactly what I am.
Yeah, but right, so I've had this question asked to me too many times, and then the problem from it was that I didn't know what to say, and I needed time to process it and unpick the question to the point where I didn't. What do you mean? What are you? What are you? What do you mean?
Yeah. Like, am I your girlfriend? Am I your, what?
Sophie, you asking me?
Poor Chris.
No, but I do get it. Some people like to have a label, and some people are quite happy just drifting along. And I think, you have to discuss it and figure out if you're both on the same page or not.
And that is us almost finished. How do you feel? You were really open and honest and stuff this week. How does it feel?
Do you know what? I feel okay. I'm quite comfortable here. I'm with you. I know that it's good to talk. I've loved hearing the Hot Mess Hotline stories. It's good to know that I'm not alone. And I just want to keep being me. And I don't want to go back in the closet and hide away. I just want to keep being me, slowly.
I love it.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for everybody who contacted us on our Hot Mess Hotline.
And for everyone tuning into Situationships.
And have a great week. We'll see you next week. I feel like I'm really staring at you.
I feel like you were telling me to have a great week.
I know.
Have a great week, Sophie.
Have a great week, GF. Okay, thank you.
She actually using that. Oh, funny. If you would like advice from Sophie and me on your situationship, then contact us at situationships@bbc.co.uk and on WhatsApp on 08000 224448. Please only contact us if you are over 18. Further information can be found at bbc.co.uk/Radio Scotland.